Drew, we have to annihilate this planet.
That guy just clicked a button that says start annihilation.
This annihilation has begun. This planet is about to get blowed up.
I can't wait.
I think. I don't know how to annihilate a planet, though, do you?
I don't, but the folks at Uber probably do.
That's why we have Adam Overton and Giant Bomb alumnus Brad Nicholson here.
Hey, I heard the community loved me, so I'm really glad
So you
to
came
be
back.
back here today and talk to all my fans out there.
Oh,
hey, guys.
boy. It's good. It's good to have you here. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. It's a little hot today, but how you doing, Adam?
I am doing super fantastic.
What are you doing?
What's
going on here?
Currently playing Planetary Annihilation. I've just started the basics of my economy with some metal extractors and an energy plant, and then my first factory, which I've chosen to build an air factory so I can do some scouting. You know, and we have two resources in Planetary Annihilation, the metal and energy, and we run those as a streaming economy, which is different from other RTSs where you kind of save up money and then you spend it on stuff. In this case, you just say, here are all my plans, like I've planned out all these buildings I want to build, and then as income comes in, you just automatically spend it on the things that you want.
So stuff just happens according to what you've set up?
Yeah, it happens according to your plan.
So I guess that makes it sound like you're focusing way more on the macro than the micro here. Is that
That is
right?
in fact an explicit goal, is to make it so that there are like these simple yet powerful tools that you can use to like manage your way around having these giant armies.
Yeah, we're all about scale, right?
Sure.
So as
Planetary scale.
Absolutely. So
Yeah,
you
we're
fight
actually
on
on a
3D
planet
spheres.
in
Oh
space.
my God!
Whoa.
So there's multiple planets.
I
You
was
can get
not
to
ready
all
for
of
that.
those.
Within this one skirmish, this scenario?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. We support up to 16 planets per system right now.
Okay.
And you can create your own. It's super simple. You just make a lobby, make your system,
I
share
guess
it.
if you were going to be annihilating planets, it's good to have a few in reserve.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, in this system, we've actually got 3 planets. We've got this kind of Earth-like planet we started on, and then we have an ice planet style over here. Oh, found the commander. Hold on, something important's happening. Just going to keep track of that.
So what he did right there was he actually used a notification, which is one of those tools we were talking about. Like, this game gets so big, it's really important that we kind of give you as many tools as possible for you to get information. And right there in the notification system, you just snap to it.
You kind of need like the full strategic overview at all times, right?
Right.
Because you can't be paying attention to everything.
Yeah.
So this game's been in early access for some time, but it was changing so much so fast after you guys put it out that we were kind of afraid to cover it.
Guys, what does gamma build mean?
Yeah, what is the Planetary Annihilation Gamma?
Gamma was like an update to Beta. Like, Beta was at a certain level, and Gamma was at a better level. It was more complete as a game. It had more of the functionality and more of the experience we wanted to provide. And it was just another opportunity to say, like, hey, everybody, like, check it out. Like, we've done a lot to try to make this game better for you.
Is that like when I write final on a project and then there's final 2, final
It's like
B?
that, except for we knew that it wasn't final.
Okay.
Yeah. We weren't quite ready for the 1.0 release.
So
but
it's- yeah,
what we
you
had
You
was
couldn't.
great.
Yeah, you had to go beyond
Do
beta.
you know when the Omega is coming out?
Well, we haven't really decided on Omega, but we do have a Galactic War update May 22nd, which will be today by the time we show this video.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so that was kind of the impetus for you guys coming down here. Is that's the kind of the full completed single player component, right?
Yeah, that has a new single-player repeatable experience that we think will be really good. We did find a lot of people who, I mean, it's a real-time strategy game, so you know you're collecting resources and building armies, and that's fundamentally tends to be a multiplayer experience. But we had a lot of customers who were playing versus the AI and really enjoying that, and so it adds that story arc and kind of an additional metagame on top of that.
Was that one of your stretch goals, the single player stuff?
I don't remember.
Yes, it was. It was.
But I got Brad here to remember for me.
Yes, of course. Now, Galactic War is kind of a fantastic addition to the game because we're finally giving people like that campaign or the art twist on a campaign that they wanted.
Excellent. Well, as soon as you blow some stuff up here, I guess we can hop out and check that out. But
Yeah. So Adam's really, this is kind of like the initial start of a base here, but he's already spotted. Are we playing against 1 AI or 2?
1. You know, I was going to do 2, but I forgot.
That's good, though. That's good. So Planetary Annihilation is a game all about scale, right? It's all about like just taking it up to the next level. So one of the things you'll kind of notice as he plays is he doesn't just build one of something. He builds like 8 to 40 of it, right? Like you don't just build one factory.
I mean,
You
that was
build
kind of the
tons.
thing in Total Annihilation, right? Like you wanted to just create a giant army of robots.
Yeah, scale is super important to us. And like, you know, again, like multiple planet kind of warfare stuff, like we're just trying to jack it all up.
And when you have the capacity to make a whole planet of robots, you kind of have a moral obligation to do so.
Yeah,
Who
absolutely.
doesn't want to create a giant army of robots?
Yeah.
Is the economy such that you need to worry about, like, well, I can't make 10 robots, but I can make 8, or can you just kind of spam them out there and
just spam 'em out.
You don't have to worry so much about the numbers.
No, you just pay for it over time. The only thing that gets hurt is your efficiency. So
Okay.
if you're not producing enough metal as you're spending, then you'll kind of get dinged for it.
So it's more like a rate of income rather than a stockpile then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So you kind of want to be spending as fast as you're bringing it in?
Yeah, totally. Or even overspending, right?
Yeah.
We kind of, do that.
Take out a
please.
loan?
Go
Yeah.
nuts.
Take out a second mortgage on your command center and then...
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, what happens is if you run out of, like, basically everything that's fabricating, that can be like the commander here fabricating this bot factory, or this vehicle factory fabricating more fabrication bots, or these other fabrication. Everything's fabricating to build stuff. And if you run out of resources to fabricate either metal or energy, it'll just slow all of them down by a percentage. So that's what that efficiency
Okay.
number at the top really means, is kind of an indication of how that's going.
I don't know if we mentioned it earlier, but the thing you're seeing in the bottom right-hand corner, that's our picture-in-picture window. So instead of a mini-map, we actually gave you a fully interactive, like, second render of the game itself. Like, Adam could take the
Whoa.
troops.
Whoa.
He could send them out from there.
Huh.
He can actually pull out all the way through the solar system.
I can get shot down.
You can get shot down right there. So this is a good way to watch another planet while you're focusing on one of them. Like a lot of our advanced command and control features is kind of what we call them. Focus allows you to kind of focus on the things you want to. So if you got a big battle on one planet, you can actually take care of that and just use these kind of intuitive drag and swipe gestures to finish everything else out. Mining, attacking, patrolling, rally points, all that stuff we make simple.
Does the automation extend beyond just the production? Like, can you set behaviors for stuff once it's made and then it'll just go do it?
Yeah, that's kind of what another part of command and control is all about, right? So like from those factories right now, Adam could theoretically set a rally point, then have that rally point turn into a patrol option in a very specific area of the planet, and then he can even set it to an area attack option later, so they'll follow that kind of pathway that you set.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I will tell it I want to build these metal extraction points, and I might click on some of them, but here I can just say build all of them in this area. Just get them all. Like I don't want to have to click on those things individually.
wow.
So I can, and in fact, if I wanted to, I could be like get them all on the planet.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that in this case, but I am going to go tell them to get tons of stuff because more space means more metal means more explosions, and I love explosions. So
I'm with you.
those guys are going to go off and work for a long time, and I don't really have to worry about it.
So there's kind of 3 tiers to battle as well. So he's got some vehicle factories right now. It's kind of our ground tier, right? Robots and tanks and stuff like that. And then there's the aerial stuff, the scouts, those bombers. But we also have an orbital shell for spacecraft and things like that too. Because if he pulls out a little bit, you'll start to see, especially as we progress later in the game, he'll start firing up stuff from the orbital launcher, like satellites,
I messed
to
that
get
guy up.
vision.
So, sorry, Brady, go ahead.
I was going to ask, all the space-based stuff, or is that literally orbital in that it's attached to specific planets, or can that transfer around the system?
So it depends. Like if you're building like a space base, right? It's attached to the planet. It's like anchored in. But you can
Right.
send your orbital fighters, for example, from planet to planet.
Okay.
You can send like massive swarms over, which is kind of how you crack a planet. Because you can get in positions or situations in Planetary Annihilation where one dude like owns a planet.
Right.
Right. So it's like it becomes a task of like, okay, how do I kind of get into this thing?
Like the whole planet is like a stronghold at
Yeah,
that point?
basically,
Yeah.
right? Which kind of feeds into the strategy. Like one of the things you can do in this game is you can literally put rocket engines on a planet and send it into somebody else's.
Wow.
And we'll show you that today too.
Oh,
it's,
man.
it's
Oh,
amazing.
I can't wait.
But that's kind of the moment. And that's how you get rid of that scenario. FYI,
Right.
if somebody got a planet, just
crash another
take care of
planet
it.
into it.
Yeah.
So is there a traditional tech tree?
No, there isn't actually.
Okay.
One of our core kind of pillars of the game is called "What You See Is What You Get," which actually, if Adam pulls in a little bit, you'll see him like literally building that tower. Or the same with the orbital launcher. Like one of the things we wanted to make sure is there's no hidden tech trees.
Got it.
Nothing like that. Like so, when you're the opposing player, when you fly over somebody's base, you get all the information that you need.
Sure.
Including like see that bomber is being built right now. Like you can see that being built. You know when it's going to come out. And it's more important with the bigger objects like those rocket engines I was talking about or the nuclear missile launcher. Like you want to be able to, as the opposing player, if you get vision and you see that dude building a nuke, We think it's more interesting for you to make a decision based on that knowledge than it is some like weird hidden knowledge.
Huh,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Like, Fog of War has become such a mainstay in RTS these days that
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting to see you guys moving away from that.
So one of the fun things we were talking about, because we're still kind of in this iterative phase in Steam Early Access, we were talking about commander spawns, and at the beginning of the game, you saw us just kind of like pick a number, you know, and spawn in. No one else gets to know where you spawned, right, until they get vision. One of the ideas we were throwing around the other day is, what would happen if you just picked your spawn and everyone knew it? What if like your commander just flew in like a huge drop pod and it blasted a huge light and everyone just knew?
Huh.
Right? Like, what would that introduce, like, at the beginning of the game? Like, first person that picks their spawn, everybody knows where he is.
Right.
So, like, what kind of weird metagame are we going to create there? You know, it might be something we try, because, you know, we can, right? It's an interesting kind of world out there.
Known
right now.
spawns, you guys are turning the whole thing on its head.
So you guys, you're still in that phase where nothing is sacred as far as the design goes? Like, you're still willing to kind of rip stuff out and change it?
We're willing to rethink things. Now,
Okay.
there are some things that are pretty much, I mean, like, right, we're not going to do square planets or
Well,
anything
sure.
like
Do we
that,
need
right?
units? Do we need units?
But do we need units? Do we need triangles?
Oh, I want to
really?
see a square planet, man. That sounds
Actually, that
ridiculous.
sounds pretty cool. We should think about that, Adam.
Make the entire thing happen in a Dyson sphere.
Yeah, perfect.
That's right. So you can see I've like taken my commander. I'm having him go off to explore this other planet. I'm going to take another guy. I'm going to have him kind of explore and take over that planet. I'm using some hotkeys to make it so I can quickly switch between the different places and get things started. So I'm going to get this guy to build some friends.
Perfect. Yeah, this is the perfect place for area commands, right? Like you can he's presumably the only guy on this little planet, right? So, you know, he has some action going on in his main planet, so he just wants to area command like crazy on that moon. That way he can kind of focus in on the, you know, what's going on over here.
And you can see that like earlier I set up these 4 factories over here to just produce like, actually these 5 if you include the back factory, to put out this mix of units that I thought would be useful. And I've come back and sure enough, they're all on continuous build. You know, you click on a factory, you choose like, hey, I just wanted you to repeat building these couple units over and over again. You come back later and like there's a giant army there and you can use it to go, you know, try to help take over the world. And I also sent this blob of units out to wipe out a big chunk of his base, and you can see this place where this guy used to have a base.
So these armies that you're constructing here, this one in particular is a mix of a couple types of units. Is that a mix that you have determined good for base killing?
Yeah, this is a mix that I think is pretty good. It has a few things. It's got a little bit of anti-air. In this case, I've got a fighter for that. I've got these super beefy flame tanks, the Infernos, that they tank well and they do lots of damage if they ever get close. But of course, getting close can be part of the challenge. And then they've got these regular tanks, Scampers, which shoot from afar to give me a little range. And then I've got a couple of these combat fabricators, which basically are like the healer bots of the game. So these flame tanks, they get in range and they just kind of hose stuff down really quickly.
So it seems like I played this a very tiny bit, and just from looking here, it seems like the MO for PA is to create a cocktail of units that will accomplish your specific thing. It's less, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's less a like nitty-gritty tactical micro-heavy game and more like I'm gonna create this army for this purpose and whip select everyone and attack.
Right. You've hit on our secret, is that we really do want to be able to say like make a big mixed army, and you know that's one of the reasons like a lot of the units in PA they're not that tough. The whole point is to say they're not tough. They instead are fragile, so that you can say like, look, the units themselves are almost like hit points, and you lose some and you still got more because you built a big army, as opposed to having like a few super heavy hitting units.
It's like an entire game built around cannon fodder.
Yeah, exactly.
This makes our conversation before this about StarCraft and like attack moving 1A all the time.
Yeah.
that makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, it's good for the 1A player, which is good for me because that's kind of the player I was. Like, my abilities in StarCraft were capped by largely by my attention span.
Right. But there, it's not so much manual dexterity and micro here as like broader kind of strategic thinking.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, all y'all like go over here,
Yep.
and they kind of sort themselves out. So these tough tanks are in front, and the other guys
a lot
are
of
in
you
back.
might not make it back, but
That's
okay.
all right.
we'll get the job done.
Because I've built too many factories. You know, that's kind of what it's all about.
Is everybody working with the same lineup of units, the same tech tree in this, or are there multiple factions with different stuff?
There's one faction and one
Okay.
tech tree right now.
Yeah, there's actually multiple kind of lore factions that we talk about, and maybe someday we'll explore those differences more thoroughly. But for now, we really focused on one tech tree.
Okay.
You can see here I'm building an advanced bot factory, which is that next step in the tech tree. But rather than upgrade like the basic bot factory, we just build another building, and that's part of one of our principles, which we call like what you see is what you get. Like, if that guy flies over my base and he sees this thing, he's like, that guy's got the advanced technology. I can just see it, and so that's part of the principle there.
Okay, so you do have to build a certain kind of building to be able to build this other type of tank.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can't build this advanced bot factory with a basic vehicle fabber, or fabricator if you prefer. You actually have to build basic bot fabricators to build an advanced bot factory. So there is a progression there in the different types of factories. So there's bot factories which build like more fragile but slightly faster units. They're the only ones that build the combat fabricators that are kind of like the combat healers. There's vehicles which are slower but tougher, and there's what am I doing on this building? And there's air, and then there's navy, and then obviously orbital.
Since you're just working with the one faction, are there a lot of hard counters built into the mix of units? Like, are there certain units that just completely murder other units, and you kind of need to worry about like a paper rock scissors?
There's some of that going on. You can see things like if you're fighting with like some of the advanced bots here include a sniper bot, and they are kind of burst damage. They do they're hard hitting on infrequent basis, and they've got longer range and pretty good speed, kind of the speed that all the bots have. But so if I'm going to fight those guys, it's like I might want to have some tanks in there, and I want to have those tanks, but I want some like really Tech 1 units to go in front because they're cheap and they have low hit points. I can throw a bunch in front, and so I might build some of the crawling bombs like these guys, which are just super cheap. I'll get this guy to help crank that guy out. And those guys will tank all the hits, and it's like, oh, use this giant shot on this guy that has hardly any hit points.
Okay, so it's not purely attrition then. There is definitely some kind of out strategizing the other guy.
There is.
Okay.
How is Fabber formed?
How is Fabber formed?
Yeah. How do you make a Fabber?
You just go to a basic factory, and then from the basic factory you choose fabrication aircraft in this case.
Are there different fabrications for each different type of thing?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay,
So-
I missed that.
Air factories make air fabrication fabricators, or fabbers if you prefer, and then the bot ones make the bot ones. And so I need, in order to build this advanced air factory, I need to have like the basic air.
More metals
Got it.
required.
Apparently I need more metal.
How about that writing? Pretty good, right?
Yeah. You like that?
It's it's very direct.
Thank
it's
you.
to the point.
Thank you.
It's well acted.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow.
In the space of 3 words, I know exactly what is required, and it's more metal.
Actually, that VO is a part of our Galactic War update
Okay.
as well. Like, that was one of the little polish items that we really wanted to get in there. And it actually, folks have been playing this game for a long time without VO, and I guess as a developer, you kind of just get used to, how the game is, right?
Sure.
And like hearing that voice now, it adds so much to the experience, right? Being able to like have that kind of feedback, like instead of having to look at the number, now you got a voice too that goes alongside the number.
Okay, so you guys are adding a lot more than just the new mode with this update, then.
Yeah, there's some VO, and down the line, we are calling it Galactic War just overall as the update, but we kind of look at updates and just named kind of updates as like phases, right? So Galactic War phase is also going to include some modding tools for our community as well, some more advanced modding tools, so guys can really kind of get in there and make the things they want to.
You guys didn't want to put in any placeholder VO like metal?
I did that for a little bit. I think one of the Planetary Annihilation alerts was, "Yo, a planet's coming," and I guess they were using that as temp VO for everything.
Nice.
Including like more metal is required.
Total
so that
panic.
Yeah.
So where are you at in this match now? Like, if you pull all the way out, like, what's the split between you and the other guy?
So I'm building some orbital fabricators now with the intent to find that, do a little scouting basically. I'm going to build some spy satellites is what it boils down to, so that I can get some view of the planet. Because right now I don't even know where the enemy is, which is never a good place to be in an RTS. I guess I can just take these guys and tell them to explore the planet, and they'll go do that. Pretty soon I'll get into some combat and be able to figure that out.
I'm sure this is the type of thing that can be tweaked, but does the average scenario always start with you and your opponents on the same planet and everybody needs to fan out to the others, or?
It does not. We actually, this system, you'll notice that everything in this system is referred to as a Zaphod. We have a community member, Zaphod, who's one of the several guys who creates a lot of video content, and he helped us run a tournament that recently, the Battle of the Beasts, and we made because he was casting for us, we made a planet system for here. So all these are named after him, but we tweaked it. In the normal Zaphod system, this ice planet is also a starting planet, and so I've actually switched it up here to make it so that we can get this guy. We can have 2 planets starting out here.
So there are scenarios where you would have a planet all to yourself and you could kind of take the whole thing over immediately.
Yeah.
Additional metal extractors required.
Turtle planet.
Which it's kind of interesting. So we support up to 10 players right now in multiplayer. And we hope to get to 40 pretty soon.
Wow.
I have a funny story about that.
Jeez.
Yeah, actually to dive into that. So we support 10 right now because we know the experience is good, right? But our engine was actually built to handle that kind of load. Like 40 dudes isn't out of line. And we actually had a bug in our game that was exploited by our community. They found out a way to, I think it was to manipulate team colors to allow them to actually start 50-plus man games.
Jeez. Oh, wow.
And they did, and the game worked.
Huh.
We weren't ready for that. I believe it was a server strain issue. We weren't ready for that. You know, the game wasn't built to support that. Is that accurate?
Yeah, before we start getting those kinds of stuff going on, we want to make sure that the game is really ready. Like we have to look at and analyze how much. I'm going to actually have these guys take over the planet here. We wanted to make sure that we run multiple server instances on one server for our customers, and if somebody creates this giant 50-person game and we haven't kind of prepared for that, then like it can mess up the experience for somebody else. So we didn't want to enable that until we've had a chance to do kind of our end game analysis, if you will, on the product.
In those cases where people are starting on different planets, do you see a lot of the action taking place in space? Like, is that where kind of the line of scrimmage is? People are clashing between the planets instead of on them?
Yeah. Like, one of the more interesting meta strategies, and I think Adam's going to talk about this too, is when you kind of do get in these scenarios where people just own planets. Now we're talking about like scale, like macro scale to the max, right? Because now it's just like, how do I take out this entire planet, or how do I invade this planet so I can get an advantage on another one? Like the strategy just really goes to another place.
Sure.
What would you guys say to a new player of this game? Like, there's so many units and things going on. Do you just like start small, like just pick a tank and see how it goes, and
build a regular factory, then have that factory build any unit, right? Kind of feel that out a little bit. Use your commander a lot too. The commander's a big robot that you start with. He's kind of like your home base. If you get shot, you're done. It's game over. Use that guy. Use him. He fights real good, and he also builds things really well too.
Do you guys have any kind of tutorial in the game yet, or is that yet to come?
There's yet to come.
Okay.
Yeah, that is yet to come. However, we do have, like I said, we've got a pretty thriving community of people who are contributing content, like videos and stuff like that. So if you went to, like, Zaphod would be one, or PA Matches is another site that's kind of a community-driven site that has lots of tutorials listed from multiple content creators. There's actually quite a bit of material out there you can use to help get started and get a description.
Oh, I love watching stuff launch.
Oh, it's great, isn't it? It's a cool effect.
I'm assuming you guys have played this quite a bit. Have you noticed what has happened to your multitasking skills?
My multitasking skills have gotten quite a bit better because, like right now, you're probably seeing me like flip between like this planet where we started and this planet where I kind of expanded with my commander, and then this final planet where I'm hoping to like smash the main planet and kill everybody. So like I'm flipping back and forth a lot because I've got different things going on in these different places. So yeah, that's been a lot better for me because multitasking is super important in previous RTS games I've played and not necessarily my strong point. Though I did learn eventually to just like, oh, I heard that sound again. I'm just gonna hit all my hotkeys and build a probe every place.
Has it affected your life?
You know, I don't know if it has spilled over into my life. I'd love to claim that it did.
I feel like I've gotten worse at multitasking.
Really?
I don't know. What's that spot? Like, okay, I'm like, the only thing I can do in this game really effectively is rush. And like, a lot of people don't like rushes in this game. They like to
20 minutes, no rush.
They want to sit back.
Yeah.
They want to build up their bases, and I try to exploit that. I feel like I've influenced the balance of the game in fundamental ways, which I feel good about.
You have, actually, I think.
It's a valid strategy.
Absolutely, and I feel like, I don't know, like I do that so much. I just take my group of units, I just throw it at a wall, right? And I'll just beat my head bloody on that wall all day until someone comes in and just finishes me off.
Okay, Adam, you are expanding pretty extensively here.
I am.
I want to know what your options are to achieve planetary annihilation.
So the main one that I'm doing here is I'm just taking over territory, taking over lots of places on this planet, and like harvesting more metal, getting these advanced structures. You can see that this kind of number up here is climbing. That's my real limitation right now about how much build power I have is the metal extractors. So I've got this big group of dudes over here. All these guys are working together to get me more metal collection per second. And then over on this planet, I'm doing the same thing. These guys are off grabbing metal. But I know this planet's going to get annihilated, so really I'm just trying to get to a point where I build the rockets. So here you can see on this menu that there's 2 rocket slots. That means that in order to launch this planet, you need to build 2 rockets on it. So I've just gotten to the point here where I can build the rocket building guys. So you need advanced fabricators for that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. They are expensive, so it takes a little time. And that's kind of one of the principles is you just kind of fire and forget. Like you just kind of set up this process of building. These guys are going to build these, and then everybody who comes out of this factory is going to come over here and try to help. And it's going all right. You can see that I'm already making good progress on this this Halley, the rocket, and then we'll see some annihilation.
Excellent. Is that the kind of the main method of taking out planets, smashing other planets into them? Like, are you ever going to build a Death Star or anything like that?
We have a metal planet that looks quite impressive and I think is beautiful, but it doesn't currently do any sort of Death Star laser effect. That would be awesome.
There's still time.
There's still time.
Yeah.
That's right.
Absolutely.
I've now finally run myself out of energy, so my teleporter, which allows me to easily transport units between planets, is complaining at me, so I'm going to have to...
Well, the advantage of being video game developers is sometimes we can enlist a little help from our friends. You want to bust out the little guy?
Your friend of the developer console?
I could do that. You want me to do that now?
Yeah. Let's get a little help from the avatar.
Yeah, let's see some action.
Yeah, so here's the avatar. He's just he builds everything and he boosts your economy massively and just kind of does it all. So what I'm going to do is 2 things. First of all, he's going to help us get this nuclear missile silo done because because nuclear missile silo, and he'll actually help. Again, we're using the what you see is what you get. You can see the progress of the missile, and that tells you like how imminent is that nuclear capability.
So one of the things we're going to show you too.
Oh, the other commander just showed up at my base.
Oh
so,
no!
I actually almost have to run away, or I'll kill him on accident if we want to see an annihilation.
I think he gave
I
up.
think I just did.
Yeah.
Oh no! Like, he was like, "Oh no! If you're taking too much of the other planet."
Chronocam that. Let's see that again.
Yeah, let's go back to that.
One of the tools we actually have an onboard game DVR. It works in real time. You can rewind your game at any point and see what happened.
I'm going to 10-second skip back, and we can see that, like, just before this, he was traveling through the solar system. Oh, I don't have a deep space radar, actually.
Oh, yeah, so you couldn't see.
So I couldn't see it, but he flies in and just lands in my base. Oh, let me review the game.
When you rewind like that, can you actually pick up and start playing from a previous point?
No,
you just hit. Oh no,
you can't play, but you can view.
Okay.
It's now in kind of complete replay mode, but you can actually use the chronocam. And you can see that he just dropped off his commander. The commander's like, "What's going on here? There's like a whole base." But I probably pressured him too much on the main planet with my exploring armies, and then this sniper bot is dealing out some damage. I was trying to give him a break, but we shot him down anyway.
So is killing the commander the only win condition, or are there other ways to?
That is the
Okay, that's
Right now, that is our
That is the goal.
only. Yeah, we want to be complete about that goal first, and then we can make other win conditions. But that is something that we do think about after our release.
You know, we should just start a system real quick. Use the avatar on a couple Haleys.
Yeah,
so
we'll
we can
do that.
Show them that just real fast before we give you guys a sneak peek of Galactic War.
All right, let's close this.
Resuming real time.
Go back to the main
Energy
menu.
is required.
Oh no!
Unfinished.
What? What? I don't.
I didn't see that.
That didn't happen. That's weird.
I did tell you guys I just like grabbed a build off my machine. I didn't like.
Live demo, folks.
Yeah, you guys came in hot on this one.
Yeah, super hot. Like
It's kind of the luxury of being your own boss, right? Like you don't have to worry about a publisher telling you like, you're going to use that 2-month-old build that we think is stable.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like this is the current state of the game.
When are you guys looking to do, Delta build or release? Release. What do you?
Like kind of like a 1.0 thing.
Yeah.
So we have this thing that we always say when we get those questions, which is we don't really answer when questions. It's always soon. In fact, our forum guys are hilarious. If somebody will ask a when question, and before we say anything, somebody will jump in and they'll post a giant picture that says soon on it. It's pretty funny.
We're definitely releasing though when it's done. Like we kind of have that luxury right now. It's just like when
It seems
we
like
feel
you're
good,
making big leaps
Yeah.
with these updates, and then
Then eventually
one
it's just
day
gonna happen.
it'll just be
right? Be like, oh, this is 1.0.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
I guess these days it's really just the difference between being on the early access page or just like the released page, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Where are you guys at with pricing right now? I know early on you were kind of matching your Kickstarter backer
Right.
tiers on the price. Has that come down, or are you?
Yeah. With each iterative release, we have lowered the price. So we're at $49.99 right now. But today, actually, you get a special savings. Check it out: Steam, Humble Bundle, Origin,
Okay.
the
Wow.
Uber Store.
And do you guys have a target on the final? What that's going to be once you're kind of quote out?
You know, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, so that's
I'm not really sure.
still up in the air.
Although I am the guy that makes those decisions,
Ah.
definitely. You know.
You're
So I'm
in-
just going to run my commander off to another place, and then we can just come over here and say, wouldn't it be great if we had a lot of build power? And we'll go ahead and build the Haleys here.
Yeah, here we go. The rocket
Where
engines.
I've lost the Haleys. There they are. When you get these avatars, they got so many different things you can build that it's harder to find like what you want.
Hello. That was fast.
Build another one over here. So now we got giant rockets on the planet. If we bring down the planetary menu, you can see we are now ready to
Send
annihilate.
to annihilate.
So we're gonna
it's
send
a great
annihilate.
button.
Thrust your body to annihilate.
And I'm gonna choose this main planet. We'll just drop it right on my original base.
Now everything's red.
Yeah, the whole world's red. And if we zoom out, we can see that here comes the planet.
Yeah. One of my favorite moments in the game, and this is kind of a smaller system, but you know, when the asteroid that's being launched is way out, and you notice it gradually changing its orbit.
Right, yeah.
It's like one of the most epic moments ever, because it's like, that planet ain't doing what it's supposed to anymore.
Oh boy. Well, that's a pretty bad day for those guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
That pretty much kills everything on the planet, and the AI was on that planet, so bad news for him. We left a giant crater.
Yep.
GG.
Yeah, GG. If for some reason you have multiple players who've survived this catastrophic event, you actually can like land on this planet and start again,
Okay.
harvesting all these spots.
So everything on that planet is not guaranteed to die, or it is?
Everything on the planet's pretty much guaranteed to die.
Okay.
But
Somebody had a base
you can
on another
still,
planet.
you might be on another planet or something, and like
Sure.
you can return.
Sure.
All right, let's show them Galactic War.
Yeah.
a little bit
Let's
here.
let's take a look at that stuff.
Out today, as you see this, so it's our, we're going to build it as an infinitely replayable single-player experience. It's kind of our twist on the traditional RTS campaign here. And you'll see why.
Go to war. You guys have great button names.
Thank you.
I'm gonna throw
Thank
that
you.
out there.
So here's the Galactic War. In the Galactic War, you actually start out as a commander, one of the faction leaders. You've just kind of rebooted, and you're coming online, and you're realizing, like, hey, I don't have all my tech. So you actually start out with just some basic tech, maybe like a vehicle factory or whatever, or vehicle tech, and like the basic stuff, nothing else. And then as you explore, you start out with 3 inventory slots where you can pick up new tech. So you'll travel from system to system. You'll just jump around. I'm actually traveling on the ones that I've already explored because I'm the red team and I can safely jump around. And you'll fill in these slots with tech you discover. So you might fight. You might get in a fight. Every system you go to, you may need to fight to take it over. You'll resolve that conflict through a game of Planetary Annihilation like you just saw, and then you'll be able to explore it and get some new tech. And so you might get, like here, we've got advanced air tech, so now you can build advanced air functionality. And here you get like another commander who's going to help you in your battles.
Yeah, an AI commander
You
that
know.
follows you around.
This one is artillery, so now I can build those artillery structures that are good at like long-range assaults. And then
Are those all randomized for each iteration of?
yeah,
like
that's
that.
part of what makes it. And then actually you can find, one of the things you can find in the system is a new loadout. So you might have a loadout where you start out with like no factories, but just a lieutenant, somebody who can help you out. And so you'll start the game, you won't be able to build hardly anything yourself, but there will be like another AI who's helping you. And so you've got to be like, okay, I got to help my AI with like economy and stuff like that. And it's just like another way to say like, well, what if I started with only air tech and no vehicle, like no ground tech? Like, how am I going to win that game? And kind of build my way back up to the point where I can take on the enemy faction leaders. You can see that there's areas that they control with like this purple players, like somewhere in here, because you can see the control he's got over these systems. And then over on this side, we've spotted a brown faction leader, and we we would have to take over his spot to win that area.
Yeah, all the systems that you're seeing too are procedurally generated, right? And so are the drops, obviously.
Okay.
The scale of Galactic War is also variable. It's player defined. I think we're looking at an Uber one, which is the biggest, and it's kind of interesting the way we scale it up. So like the bigger it is, the less things you start with. So in this one, you start with just the 3 slots, I believe, or basic
Yeah,
vehicle
just
factory.
3.
Yeah, and then
Just 3 slots and a basic vehicle factory, so
yeah.
you can actually fight.
Yeah. So, but that's all you have until you kind of explore the system, and pick up new things. Like the core thing with this is we're trying to get players to make more interesting decisions of how they play Planetary Annihilation, right? Like, it makes it a little bit harder, a little bit different.
Yeah, and if you're new to Planetary Annihilation, it's like you don't have to face this giant, set of technology from the very beginning where it's like, oh, I've got a commander and he can build vehicles and bots and air and naval. Like you can just be like, oh, I'm starting, I can use vehicles. That's it. Like that's kind of a good place to begin, and you don't have to worry about like, okay, the vehicle factory builds like 4 things, an anti-air, fabricators, short-range and long-range tanks. That's it.
Kind of a way to ease yourself into all the different stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then so moment to moment here, as you move into occupied systems, you would like if you were to move into that purple one up there, like you would just start.
I would start a fight.
a scenario.
Which would be a whole Planetary Annihilation game.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other ways to interact with the enemy in this mode if you were to jump in there, or it's just immediately going to launch into a fight?
It's just going to be like, oh, okay, you ready to fight?
Fight! Fight!
Fight.
We could.
We could.
We could.
It's another game.
Yeah,
Do it.
let's take a look at the beginning of that real fast.
So in this case, as you saw, I had actually explored a bunch of the system. As I moved around that system, I had gathered up several different pieces of tech that helped my economy, that gave me some new technology. Actually, one of the interesting things is I showed you that I had advanced air, but in this situation, I don't have basic air yet, so I can't actually get to the advanced air. So I've got a bunch of toys, but some of them I can't even play with
No way
yet.
to use them. I noticed that you had the ability to delete some of those. Is that just to make room for other stuff?
Yeah, there's like, I lucked out in this particular match because I ended up getting a bunch of additional slots, which allowed me to have more places to put stuff. But early on, if you don't luck out and get some of those slots, you might have to make some tough decisions about what am I going to actually keep.
Right.
So here we are. I'm just going to check how it looks like a 1 planet system. And there's more metal here. I like more metal. It's like more money. So I'm going to start here. But in this case, I have, as you can see, I have to immediately start building economy, and I lose my ability to talk about anything else. Okay, I feel better now.
But he has a limited selection. Like, for example, is that naval?
I do have.
handy
I have
on a
naval
moon.
on a moon
yeah.
that has no water.
Great.
So one of my favorite bugs that we've had, and it's long gone, and of course our game is always fantastic and bug-free. Naval could travel on land for a little bit.
Yeah.
That was maybe the best thing ever.
Land
Great.
boats.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So in terms of this being a one-planet system, you don't have any control over like the nature of each scenario that you jump into.
No,
totally-
like it's
totally
kind of
random.
it's randomized,
okay.
it's procedurally generated. Like these planets themselves are procedurally generated. That's one of the principles of Planetary Annihilation is to make it so that like the systems can be dynamically generated. So you can just what you can do is you can go to our system editor and kind of control like how big the system is, how many planets are in it, what flavors there are. Are there lava planets? Are there desert planets? Are there jungle planets, Earth-like planets, etc. What the water height on it actually turns out to be an important factor because that tells you how much water, whether you're going to have like a very naval-oriented planet or not. And you can use all these things to create a variety of situations. And you actually you can actually enter like a seed, and then so if you get a planet you like, you can actually have that planet come up again and again by using that system. But you still get this kind of control over what the planet you're going to be on are.
Cool. And then once you dominate this planet and take this guy out, you'll get, like you said, some kind of drop.
Yeah, I'll
some
hopefully
kind
get
of
a
tech.
drop. Well, hopefully I'll take this guy out, and if I do, then I'll get some tech to go along with it.
And this is just the first iteration of Galactic War as well. Like we plan to keep building on this, much like we kind of do the core game.
Right. And then I guess the overall flow of a Galactic War scenario is just to kind of eradicate all the other factions.
Yep.
Do you win as soon as you take all of them out, I guess? Or do you
Yeah,
have
you
to
do.
occupy
You got to
every
get rid of
node?
all 3 other faction leaders.
Okay. Very cool. Very
So
cool.
I saw them. Oh, I was going to build some bots, but then I just realized I don't have bots, so I'm just going to build some factories. Lots of factories. Hopefully, I'll have the economy for that pretty soon.
You have to worry about base placement at all, like kind of walling things off and creating choke points and stuff like that, or is that?
You create a little bit of that in the sense that you. I'm going to continuously build this, so I just keep turning it. You do a little bit of that, like you'll create. You can actually build a wall unit that will block things and help guide where things travel, and then you can build towers, and so there's some of that. But the moon planet. Uh-oh, this is trouble. Hold on. I don't want that anywhere near my stuff. Yeah, that's gonna.
That's a lot of AI you're fighting against too.
Well, there's 3 AIs, but 2 of them are my buddies.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. All right, I take it all back.
Forces are under attack.
That is
Eat
no
it.
good.
Okay.
Nice.
Commanders are powerful. Just want to point that out.
And they explode real good too. One of my favorite things to do, there's a nuclear explosion when they die. One of my favorite things to do is maybe not as effective as it used to be, but if you're losing and you know you're going to lose and it's still early in the game, just run your commander in somebody else's base and let it blow up. You'll wreck their economy and it's funny every single time.
Now my AI buddies are harassing the enemy AI.
Oh, I love it when AIs fight each other.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ever since the heady days
Look at
of
that
Doom.
flame tank just like hosing down that stuff with fire, just turning it into slag.
Have you ever managed to run your commander in and have that nuclear explosion blow up their commander as well?
Yeah, you could use
Like would that bring about a draw?
yeah.
It can, yeah, you can get a draw scenario that way.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
That's the catch, right?
It used to be so easy to do that we actually ended up like toning down how much the commander explosion affected other commanders
Right.
and buildings because it was just super destructive. It's like you could have situations where it's like you can play in a team army game where like you and I cooperate versus other guys and we actually share control of the army, and we both have our own commander to start with, and we could be like, okay, let's send one commander in. And we'll blow up a big chunk of his base, and then it'll be so far behind
Yeah.
that we can just win with
The
our
guy
other
just
commander.
wins. Commander bomb.
Commander bomb, and so
That's-
that was a little too good originally, and we've now toned that down a little bit. That balance process is complicated, and we've had to spend quite a bit of effort on it.
Yeah, I guess it never stops.
It never does stop.
Yeah. So like you said, I mean, this stuff is out today. If people want to play the Galactic War stuff. Before we sign off here, do you guys have any any further updates down the line that you want to pitch? Like, do you have that roadmap planned out pretty well, or?
Just keep looking out for it. I mean, that's kind of the thing, right? We have a lot more stuff we want to add, and let's get it in there.
Yeah. Excellent. Cool. Well, thank you guys for stopping by.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, man.
I'm glad to finally see this now that it's kind of become way more of a real game. Like you guys were one of the first ones on early access.
Not bad, right?
Yeah, it seems like it's really cool to see it from like kind of its nascent beginnings grow up and become a real game.
Absolutely, man.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having us.
That was good. That was good with the Faber. That was nice.
Yeah, the Avatar.
Elite strat.
recon. Yeah. I wanted